What's up, guys? Welcome back to Ryan Answers, where I pick my favorite questions that were asked on our Leadbase Pro call that I spend. At this point, there's so many people in Leadbase Pro. I'm usually on there for 2 to 2.5 hours answering all your questions. You can join the link in the description, obviously. It's not $15,000, it's $99 a month. And in this video, I answer a question from Nathaniel where he's asking about how to scale and when to kill ads that aren't working. And we go over a bunch of stuff here that was super helpful for him. So hopefully you find it helpful too if you're trying to scale your account past the couple $100 per day mark, or maybe you just ran your first ads and you don't even know where to go next. This is going to be very applicable to you. So check out this Q&A and I'm going to answer this question for you. Let me know what you think in the comments if you're having trouble scaling.
Most of my questions are going to be based on around sort of the testing phase. So we've been running sort of early stage Facebook lead ads for like B2B tax related CPA offers. We have one client that is willing to buy leads from us just kind of through the testing process and also fund a little bit of the ad spend. So we've been kind of taking advantage of that. So right now we're at currently 6 ad sets testing. We're a little bit under a week that those have been running, kind of at the phase where we're starting to increase the daily spend. Just kind of give you an idea of the CTR between, our worst and our best performing is about 1.8 to 3.57%. So based off of the videos I've watched, it seems like those are all good enough to keep scaling. And their cost per lead is kind of varying between about $7 up to like $30.
And so B2B tax planning, is that what you said?
Yeah, so like CPA stuff, bookkeeping, tax
really good cost per lead.
However, right now we're just running like the bare minimum in terms of the Facebook instant form. Just one simple question asking kind of what describes you is what we ask, and it's just, are you a business owner? Are you looking to start a business, something like that. And we're trying to qualify everything after the fact through, go high level follow-ups, calling the leads ourselves. And that's kind of where my questions start. So first off, I'm kind of curious how we should be choosing some of these winners. Like you say, if they all have over a 1% click-through rate, but there's obviously some of these out of the 6 that are doing a lot better than others just based off their cost per lead. Yeah. Is there a point? I mean, there's some that are still hanging on with, like I said, the lowest is a 1.8%. And based off the criteria, I think that I learned, it seems that would be something that you keep scaling. Should at some point we make a judgment call to just kill that one, even though, and just kind of feed the ones that are performing better with a lower CPL, in your opinion? Or is it kind of, I guess, is there sort of a strategy there? Because my thought process is we can keep scaling them up forever. And if they stay above 1%, they're just kind of going to be a drain on the ad spend.
Totally. So CPL is like the number one metric for sure. So we use, like, with that testing phase, we use CTR as like a guideline, but once you start getting leads, that's what you need to base things off of. So you could be getting a lower CTR but a better cost per lead because that ad just positions people better for the offer. So I would scale based on cost per lead, not on CTR at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, CTR is just like a starting kind of like guideline, but CPL is what we really care about at the end of the day.
Okay, so that's what we were thinking about doing, but we just wanted to wait till today to, ask officially, but just basically pick some of the best cost per lead, let those continue to scale, and then go back to the drawing board and start testing new creatives again. So that's kind of what we thought about doing. Just wanted to make sure that we weren't breaking any of the rules that you were teaching. So we're trying to follow the process to a T. So my next question is going to be kind of based around everything kind of post Facebook generating the lead. We're trying to obviously sample what the quality of these leads are. So we're kind of tracking if the phone numbers are valid coming through. We will send them a link to click, or a link they can click to try to get them to further qualify themselves through a quiz funnel that we built. We figured that we didn't want to start with that quiz funnel just to try to get the data first versus, and we're tracking a lot of that information. My question really just kind of comes down to, at what point should we feel confident selling the lead to our buyer? Because like I said, they're currently willing to buy the leads at $30 a lead, which may be a little underpriced. I'm not really sure there. We're just kind of trying to get our foot in the door.
Yeah.
But I'm worried about just if we sell everything that comes through, and we, should we be, tracking some of these, like I said, some of these data points, like the phone number should be valid, and the phone actually rings. That's another problem we're also having, is like a lot of these leads, about 50% of them, the phone doesn't even ring; it just goes straight to voicemail. And I think that's an issue that maybe can be solved with for like a OTP thing. But
yeah, I would
really. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Sorry to interrupt. I would just say, I would definitely at the minimum sell lead forms with OTP. But if you have OTP on, I would just sell 100% of those and let the client tell you what's going on. And you're not doing OTP right now, right?
No, we're just just that one simple question that I mentioned is like our only friction that we've added. So okay, because I guess kind of where we're at. Like, I mean, like I said, 50% of them, the phone's at least ringing. So when the sales team starts calling, at least the phone rings. So they're not just going to instantly be like, "What the hell? This phone just goes straight to voicemail every time." So I just kind of want to know what your thought process is and when you would feel confident selling it. But I guess maybe the next step for us is just turn on OTP, see what the CPL looks like. Hopefully, we're still profitable. If not, try to find new buyers and charge more or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think you could probably charge closer to like $50 to $60 for these.
Okay.
But I mean, it sounds like you have a decent cost per lead to start, which is good. I start selling the leads like pretty early on, and I want the buyer to tell me, what they look like. So you might sell the like lead form with OTP leads, and there's probably more like 3 scenarios, but one of 2 things will happen on the extreme ends. One is like, these are great, and it's like, okay, awesome. Well, this is easy to keep running. Lead forms are simple. We're getting them for 15. We're selling them for 30. Awesome. The other scenario is they say these are terrible, but that's an opportunity for you just to say like, hey, totally understand. Like, let us work on some improvements here. We're gonna give you some bonus leads on this order. We're gonna make sure this works out for you. And then it's like, well, now at least because you sent them to a client, and you learn that through that process. Like, worst case that you lose the client, and then you go get another one. Like, I'm always like very pro, like, just you can go get another client, and it's all about learning and actually hearing it from the horse's mouth.
That makes sense.
Is that the one?
Yeah, I think that's the right phrase.
Yeah.
Okay. So my next question is like, you've definitely been doing this a lot longer. So $50 to $60 being a better price point. Is there someone that you work with or in this community that is kind of in a similar vertical that you're getting that from? Or I guess I'm just curious. I did a little bit of research, and I've heard like you could sell, like tax relief leads at like $100 a pop. But at the end of the day, I'm just kind of taking a shot in the dark. I don't really know the best place to kind of figure out this pricing.
Personal tax relief leads, I would think, are more in like the $50 range but this is business tax planning. Like
and it's not usually tax relief. We just happened to one of the leads that came through also just owed money as well, but they do have a business. But so the most part, it's just tax planning, bookkeeping. It's kind of an upsell that the CPA usually tries to throw in there.
I just threw that number out based on like, I know I spend $5-6 grand a year on accounting probably. So like,
just like lifetime value of a client that's needs that service.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking like, okay, if I'm selling, I mean, these leads might be worth closer to 100. That could be possible. It all comes down to like, let's say I'm the average client. I'm spending $5 grand a year. I'm going to stick around for 3 years. My lifetime value is 15 grand. Let's just say that. So if I'm selling leads for 50 and they close 1 in 10 of them, they just paid $500 to get a $15,000 lifetime value client. But we need to look at like, what's their potential, what's their net on all of that.
That's where it comes down to your calculator that sheet that you have, right? You can kind of plug all that in and try to keep them around a 2x return on spend, and they should be happy. You can
at the minimum for sure. So let's like, if they're spending 500 to make, if it's 15 grand over a couple of years, maybe their net's like 3 grand. So it's like they spent 500 to make 3 grand. This is obviously a pretend scenario, but that was really good. If that's
so, at that point, you're really just balancing it to make sense based off of the data that we don't currently have. We don't really know what what these leads will eventually convert into in terms of cost and stuff like that. But like what their conversion rate would be. But okay, I think that seems like the next step for us would be to turn on OTP and start selling the leads. So would you say, have you ever had an experience with the issue of, the phone calling these numbers and they just go straight to voicemail? And then we use a go high level number, and then we've also called them through our personal phones just to see if it's kind of VoIP related. But
yeah, well, if you don't have OTP on, a lot of times like the autofill on Facebook lead forms is just going to fill in like an old number that they had.
Okay.
Once you verify their phone number, like they have to be holding their phone in their hand, so you're not going to. It might still go to voicemail on some people, but probably not as often straight to voicemail. Like you're just going to get more legit numbers.
Okay.
And with lead forms, especially, yeah, I think it's important to.
Okay. And do you know by any chance, typically, and we might as well just try it and figure it out, but what the increase in cost per lead is going to kind of do when it's going from nothing to OTP? I think I saw you in one of the chats saying somewhere like between like 4 and 40%. It's like a pretty wide range.
It's more likely going to be like 10 to 20.
Okay.
It's almost always worth it, I'd say. So
yeah, because like at the moment, like I said, I have someone who's willing to buy them, but I'm only basically selling them a lead that I've physically spoken to and booked for them. So I want to just get to the point where I can just sell them a raw lead. So, okay, I'm good with that. So appreciate you asking or answering those questions. I have a couple others, and hopefully I'm not taking up too much time. So let me know if I'm going too long here. So a couple of things regarding, I'm obviously trying to increase quality. I've heard that you can turn off audience placement, I think it's called.
Audience network
placement, yeah. And I've heard that's just because there's like a lot of click fraud that happens when you send them to, I guess that's Facebook will send them to like a partnered website that there's a little bit less control they have over who's clicking there. What are your thoughts on that? I'm thinking about doing it, or is that like something I should just not mess with right now and just do one page at a time?
I tended to leave audience network on before, but I'm testing having it off. I know a lot of people just find the quality not as good, so I'm currently testing that. I think for now, just leave it on. Start with OTP, like do one variable at a time. That can always be something you test in the future, though, for sure.
Okay. So my next question is, if I'm going to turn this OTP on, should I just swap out the form in the currently scaling testing ads, or should I just duplicate that ad? Let's say I want to put it on one of my better ads or my better creatives right now. Do I make a whole new one, or do I just swap the form out and keep chugging?
Yeah, it's hard. I personally like to duplicate the ad set and do it from scratch so that I can like have a reference point. So I want to see before, like my ad set would be named like no OTP, and then the next one would be with OTP, and then I could see directly how much more it's costing. The problem is that's still not a perfect split test, because sometimes when you duplicate your winning ad, it doesn't perform as well, or it performs better. So in this case, yeah, it's hard, because if you edit the lead form, it can kind of reset the ad a little bit. So I would probably duplicate it and then change the form on the new one, just against, you can reference that historical data, because a month from now you might not, I guess, unless you name the ad like changed on February 10th to OTP, right? So as long as you can kind of reference the old data, it actually doesn't really matter that much, in my opinion. But just make sure you can like just look and see it was $5 before, now it's $8. Okay, it went up, $3.
Okay. I thought you also talked about, I mean, I guess I can kind of skip this question, but just to kind of throw it out there real quick, you mentioned turning ads off during certain time periods. I get leads in at like 2 a.m. and if speed to leads a thing, like I'm not awake at that time to call them. Should I be just, I know this is another change, but like, can I just turn the ads off when, overnight? So like, we're not just burning leads, because I know the conversion is going to go down if you're not calling within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The statistic is.
Yeah, you can. I would say that's like you said, it's another variable. So wait till you're kind of like past the point of like you've generated 100 leads, which if you're already there, that's fine. I did that for a long time though. I literally turn my ads on and off every single day before you could automate it with Facebook. So you can actually set up Facebook rules now to turn the ads off at 6 p.m. and turn them back on at 6 a.m.
Okay.
I don't have a video on that, but I'm sure if you go on YouTube and put in Facebook rules for turning ads on and off, you'll find something pretty quick. Yeah, so just don't like mix that in with testing, because that will affect the cost per lead, because you're going to get cheap leads in the middle of the night. like that tends to be cheaper because people aren't advertising then. So yeah, just do one thing at a time. That's all.
Okay. I think other than that, that was questions I had. Yeah, it seems like the theme of this is just one thing at a time.
For sure.
Keep
It's like
analyzing.
being a scientist.
Okay,
So.
cool. Thank you.